approaches and the same strategies. So the world is changing around us, but we're looking at the world through the same prism, right? And also, the industries that we work in changing as well. The economy is changing, our industries are changing. Post-COVID, we all saw it. Work itself did change, but we're also still using the same methodologies, the same strategies, the same approaches to manage our careers. And especially sometimes for mid-career professionals, when we get to that stage, we plateau a little bit. And we feel like, oh, what's next? What shall we do next? What will the future of our career actually look like? What the blindfolds look like. The first one is credentials. And now I'm not saying you ought not to have your credentials. We know that we want the doctors to be qualified. We know you have to have your board certification, your medical licenses. We want you to be qualified. We want to ensure that, so they tell us in the community, that is to ensure that you can do the procedures that you're hired to do, that it protects us as well, because you should be able to handle the responsibility that comes with that job. And one doctor told me, remember liability. You have to mention liability because that's also important in terms of just in case there's action against a physician. So yes, we get it. And we love to see your credentials. We love that you have credentials. We love seeing it on the wall. You know, when we go into your practice and you stick us in that room for like 30 minutes and you don't come back and we don't know where we are reading the stuff on the wall. And we're like, wow, that's nice. This is where that person went to. But one of the challenges with physician credentialing, and also when you think of the respect that it garners, that's built-in trust. But I think what has happened over time is that doctors and scientists tend to lean into that because they have that trust already. They lean into that because that's the only thing I need to put. Read you can go on any review right now, any website or your own website, and you'll see board certification, number of years. That's the only thing that you see. But that's not a sufficient signal of what you can deliver. So part of it is that physicians tend to put a lot of weight on credentials in establishing their reputation. And it works, but only to a certain degree, because for me, the resume alone and the board certification, it signals how amazing you are, but it shouldn't be enough. It's not enough. Because when you look at, it's a baseline of competency, put it like that. It's a baseline of competency, and we all recognize that sometimes substantial educational attainment is out of sync with skill level. And that's why it doesn't sell you as much as you think it does. For example, I teach communications. A communication degree does not tell an employer that the candidate can write or speak any more than a medical license can give us a sense of what the actual capability of the medical practitioner is, right? I'm not coming here to depress you guys. I'm just saying that these are some of the blindfolds that we kind of lean into, and I don't call it, the reason I didn't call it a blind spot is because blind spots, we don't see them. Blindfolds, we literally take it on and we wrap it around ourselves, like we don't want to see. Experience is also not enough. Your experience merely signals the length of time that you have been doing this job. It is not really a reliable indicator of your capability at this job. Of course, it is often assumed that professional experience should enhance your knowledge and skill, right? It should. On paper, maybe, and we should trust what you can deliver. But if years of practice makes physicians better, then the quality of care that they give should increase as you amass more experience. But just the opposite has been found to be true. Almost every one of the 6 studies, doctors' performance grew worse over time. At best, stayed the same. And only 2 of the studies said that doctors' experience got better with experience. What might we take away from this? Here's the rub. Professional experience is not a sufficient, it's not sufficient to build a strong and credible reputation. Nor does professional tenure necessarily result in professional growth. It merely indicates how long you've been at it. It doesn't show continuous learning. And this is an opportunity. It's not a critique, it's an opportunity for you guys to start shifting some stuff, to talk about the continuous learning that you're doing, because you know it, we don't know it. So when we look at what you put out about yourselves, we're not seeing some of those things. These things that will strengthen your own perception or our own perception of you. And remember, as we gain experience, all of us, we tend to fall into the trap of being certain about certain things, and it happens to me all the time. Meaning, we're no longer curious sometimes, and we're less open to new information. And I think an appropriate stance is for us to kind of look at new possibilities, or be open, at least be open to new possibilities. So the blindfold here is that we cling to outdated beliefs, and in medicine, maybe outdated treatment philosophies, maybe outdated practices, which are no longer helpful. And this one is on tight. Yeah? Many physicians anchor their reputation on either where they work, where they went to school, where they did their fellowship. We love that. We love hearing it. The job position that they hold at the moment. Yeah? So some institutions, face it, we're in one, arrive with impressive brand names. You can't escape it. They do excellent work. Some of the top names emerge out of these places. So nothing is wrong. It can't hurt to associate with the Yales and the Browns and the Harvard. In fact, when I told my colleagues I'm going down to Brown University Medical School to do a presentation, they're like, ooh. And the reason they go, ooh, is because your reputation precedes you. They feel very strongly and very positively about Brown University. So it made me seem great. But if you were to extract me from that scenario, from this environment, would my brand still be strong? And that's the point. That your institution may have some influence over what the perception is. And it does. In a lot of ways, if you say you go to Harvard, we're like, that's why so many people want to show up there.